My name Nipsey Hussle. I'm from LA.
From 30 for 30 Podcast and The Undefeated, this is The King of Crenshaw.
I would be lying to say I wasn't inspired and influenced by Nip.
It was a celebration of blackness.
We're not just here to entertain.
It's about the impact that you're putting on that community.
And when he earned enough to leave, he stayed. A story of basketball, hip-hop, and rapper Nipsey Hussle.
Life is really a marathon.
Listen now, wherever you get your podcasts.
SportsGrid.com. Betting insights and entertainment at your fingertips 24/7 as our team covers the most important topics in sports wagering. Real-time odds, predictive betting models, expert picks, and more. Want the edge? Then get on the grid. SportsGrid.com.
Continues. So, it's great to be celebrating our anniversary with the relaunch of Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM. So, and timing is everything. So I love the timing of this right now where we're jumping in here, guys, and we're going to have the NFL playoffs leading into the Super Bowl. And we've got the National Hockey League regular season that's starting in mid-January. And, listen, I love the NBA, but what I like about this NHL season, guys, is it's more condensed. It's shorter. It's going to be intense as hell, man. All right? It's going to be more intense than that TV show, This Is Us. That incidentally, like, if I wanted to get, depressed, all I would have to do is, look at my bets. Like, if I wanted to get depressed, I'd go on Facebook and look at, ex-girlfriends that have gotten married and that have moved on with their lives. If I don't need to watch This Is Us. If I'm gonna get, I need to get that depressed, right? Those commercials, man. You're betting on a football game. You got a ton of money on a football game, and then it comes on. The commercial, you got a beer commercial, and it's like, oh, cool. And then the next commercial comes on. I'm sorry, honey, I have cancer. I'm dying, and I've been cheating on you with your mother. And, This Is Us, Sundays, NBC. And I'm thinking, dear God, don't people have enough misery? Don't people have enough misery in their lives? Right? Don't they have enough misery in their lives that they don't need to watch a show that's just going to, I understand people like a scare. That's why people like horror movies. But if you want a scare, just bet on college basketball. All right, that'll put a scare. that'll put a scare into you. But what I like about this season, so we're starting in January, and boom, NFL playoffs, NBA. The NBA regular season is going to be a tricky one this year. I think the NBA players are big divas. The NHL players will just sort of shut up and play. The NBA, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to play that game. And the season is still kind of long in the NBA. It's 72 games. So it's not like it's rapid fire. Boom, boom, boom. But I just, I love the intensity of this stuff that we're jumping in. We're jumping in NFL playoffs. We've got your back leading all the way through to the Super Bowl. And we've got the NHL regular season. That's just going to be another, sort of a sprint. The NBA is more of a marathon. You're watching NBA games now, and how much do you really think NBA players are worried? I'm not saying they're not trying. I'm not saying they're not trying. All right. I think that's one of the biggest falsehoods associated with the NBA and their players. I think there was a time, when NBA teams would roll over. There was a time when you wouldn't get max effort from NBA players, right? The second that a team got down by 16, they would tap out. Sam Mitchell, longtime NBA coach, once got upset with me years ago because I said NBA players are quitters. And he kind of took offense to it. And he spoke to me off the air about it. And you know what? He actually raised a lot of good points. And I learned I learned like from it. You got to learn along the way, right? You've got to learn along the way. And, you know, he said, and I even took it back. I said, not quitters, but I said it's frustrating that a lot in the NBA teams will tap out when, you know, they're down. That they won't like say, you know what, let's just play it to the final whistle. That they don't play to the final whistle every night. And Mitchell basically said, listen, you know, if you're a coach in the NBA, he goes, you maybe got 6 or 7 guys that are actually good on your team. All right, that's what Mitchell, like, off the air said, you know, so to speak, off the record, that I'm telling you. And it was actually on the set of that TV show, off the record. And he told me, he goes, really? You know, he goes, you got like 6 or 7 guys that can actually play and help you come back and win. And he's basically point blank. He said, don't blame the coaches, don't blame the players. He said, if we didn't play 3 games in 5 nights, then I'd be able to leave a guy on the floor and, you know, try for the comeback, right? But he goes, the way the schedule is, he goes, you've got to decide, you know what? We've got to cut our losses and move on. And then he brought up the point, and he said, you covering a point spread's not my problem. And that's a good point, right? We all sort of think of everything from a point spread point of view through the point spread sphere of things, yet that's not their issue. That's not their issue. But with all that being stated, it's a long season in the NBA, man, and it was a quick turnaround. You look at the National Hockey League, and they've had a little bit longer, right? They've had a little bit longer to get ready. The season's going to be a little bit shorter. The NHL has done a very good job. The NHL has done a very good job with their new divisions to limit the travel. The NBA has not, right? The NBA has not. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to bet on the NBA. And I've got a couple of angles that we're going to see. I'm going to put to the test. And I think in the National Hockey League, we'll keep our eye on this. And in the NBA as well, as we're still early in the season, is that the teams that didn't play in the hubs, the teams that didn't play in the bubbles, like I'm telling you right now, guys, you know, there's like a Super Bowl hangover curse. And, you know, some people don't believe it and stuff. It's factual. You can believe it. It's like you can believe coronavirus or not, you know. But I don't really care. They're facts. You're entitled to your opinion in this world. You're not entitled to your own facts, right? That's, you know, you're not entitled to your own facts. And it's going to be interesting to see. There will be teams. So, you know, there'll be good teams. Like, let's use the Miami Heat as an example. People always do this. Whatever team loses in the championship, people always pick that team to get back again. Right? Oh, well, you know, they lost, but they're really good. How many people do we hear say San Francisco are going to be terrible this year? Not very many. I did. It's free money, guys. I don't like the expression free money because nothing in life is free, but it's solid money. Let's put it that way. If you just blindly bet the season win totals to the under of teams that lost in the Super Bowl, you're going to make a lot of money over the years. All right? You're going to make a lot of money. And, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether it's fair. It doesn't mean that they were fraudulent when they were good. But it just is. It just is. It takes a lot of luck to get to a championship in any league. All right? It takes a lot of luck. And it takes, you know, we're talking about being at the right place at the right time. You know, somebody got hurt on the other team. Oh, there was a protest. Look, Giannis got hurt. Like, I'm just saying, like, the Miami Heat had a lot of things go their way. It's the law of averages. It's Murphy's Law. It's reality. You as gamblers understand this. Man, I was so lucky. I don't understand what happened, right? So there's going to be teams that were good. There's going to be teams that were good in the National Hockey League. There's going to be teams that were good in the NBA. Last year, in the bubble, in the hub, and I still don't know why the NBA was a bubble and the NHL was called a hub. Like, what's the difference? They're both the damn same thing, right? Oh, no, it's a bubble. It's a hub. These damn hockey guys. You know, I don't know if you know this. When hockey, they don't like calling it the locker room. It's not the locker room. It's the dressing room. They think they're classier. I don't know. Smells like a locker room. I've been in them, so it's not much of a dressing room. Smells smells more like a locker room, guys. But so there's going to be teams in the NHL. Hey, look, everything went their way last year. They're supposed to be good. People are handicapping them to be good, and things will not go their way, right? Things will go against them. That's sports. And I'm just going to be taking a look at some of these teams that did not play in the NHL hub, that did not play in the NBA bubble. They're not going to be as tired. It was a quick turnaround, man. It's like 64 days in between games for the Lakers from winning a title and starting a new season again. Like, really? Come on. NBA players take 64 days off in the regular season sometimes. So, it's something from a handicapping perspective that we're going to be keeping our eye on. Take a look at some of the fresher teams, the hungrier teams, and also, like, not just from a physical standpoint, but it will come into play. I mean, guys, there could be injuries that players had from the bubble and the hub that they still have now. You know what I mean? Like, especially hockey. Like, hockey players kill each other. So don't tell me that it was just 2 months ago that everybody's fine. Oh, yeah, no, I feel 100%. Right? So, but not just that, but mentally as well. You've seen NBA players already complaining. Oh, God, I'm not playing every game, right? I'm not playing every game. So you take a look at some of the teams that went far in the NBA hub. They might struggle a little bit because the excitement factor is not going to be there. They're thinking about the big picture. Are the Los Angeles Lakers, thinking about, oh, man, we better win tonight because otherwise I'm going to get ripped by Stephen A. Smith? Or are they thinking, I don't care what happens tonight. I don't care what happens tonight. We'll win enough games. And you know what? We're going to be playing basketball in June. All right. So am I worried about what's happening in January right now? No, not really. But so you get other teams that, a Pistons, a Knicks, teams that, the Sacramento Kings, teams are on the outside looking in, the Phoenix Suns that are sort of like enthusiastic to be back. I guarantee you, man, there's NHL players that are thinking, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. Like, we're back already? We're back already? We got to start killing each other? And you can't mail it in playing hockey, I tell you. Like, it's impossible. Like, you can't mail it in. You can play poorly. And I'm not saying, there's different levels of effort, but that's the beautiful thing about the National Hockey League is the nightly effort. Right? We always talk about this when you're betting on a sporting event or you're betting on a team or a fighter. Are you going to get an honest effort? This sort of comes full circle to what we were talking about with the NBA. Are you going to get an honest effort from these guys? But my original point really was that the NBA, it's not a fair criticism anymore. Players in the NBA are competitive psychopaths, man. It is like people think, oh, the NBA, it's not as competitive as this or that, or it's more of a country club or they're all buddies and they don't care. They might get along, a lot of these guys, but their NBA players have the biggest egos, right? Like out of any athlete, really. Like they're egomaniacs. Like I don't think that like a lot of NFL players, like, I don't think NFL quarterbacks are going on Twitter on Sunday night, after the game and saying, well, I wonder what people are saying about me. We know NBA players do that. Kevin Durant's got burner accounts. Kevin Durant argues with 14-year-old kids who say that Curry's better than he is, right? Like, we know. Like, look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had a great basketball player. Let's ever do this. Look at the thing. But that's dead. I will tell you, I don't know why you're so normally upset at this time of the year. Jordan hates everybody. Past years when I was younger and dumber and I had worse money management skills, sometimes, bro, by the end of June, I would hate baseball. I'd be like, when's football starting? You know what I mean? Then it would be like, sometimes I'd make it to the end of July. And, and I'd be like, all right, cool, football's here. It's time to move on. I don't want to let baseball go. I've really enjoyed this season. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, I've killed it. Oh, I'm murdering it. But I haven't lost. So, you know what? I'm having fun as a fan. I haven't lost. I've enjoyed the campaign. I've got some nice futures in. I got the Braves at plus 340 to win the division, the Phillies at plus 390. So I got both teams. I got a couple of nice little futures in my back pocket, Teddy. But one division that I haven't pulled the trigger on, and I've been waiting, is the National League West. And the Dodgers have been favored all year long, Teddy, until this week. San Francisco are small favorites right now. And Boston and San Francisco, Teddy, the biggest surprises of the season. But not to you, because I remember I said, Teddy, who's the sleeper team this year on the diamond? You said everybody thinks San Francisco sucks. I'm not so sure they suck. I think they'll be good. Did you think they'd be this good? And, Teddy, we've seen Boston stumble. Everybody stumbles. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Astros. I don't care who you are. Everybody has that, like, sort of, man, it's been a rough couple of weeks. San Francisco haven't had that. I'm putting my foot down, and I say when it's all said and done, they'll stumble a little bit, and the Dodgers squeeze out the division win, Teddy. What do you think about it?
I don't know that it's even going to be a squeeze. Okay? There's 3 games separating the Giants and the Dodgers going into Thursday, you know? And if you're going to tell me the Dodgers can't make up 3 games in the last, 6 weeks of the season. And make no mistake about it, all right? The addition of Trey Turner, that changes the calculus for the Dodgers. It really does.
Funny because everyone talked about Scherzer so much, right? But Trey Turner is like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, I mean, not to poo-poo the addition of Max Scherzer to a rotation, which obviously makes the Dodgers that much better. But when you're talking about adding, Trey Turner is the highest batting average in MLB over the last 2 years. You know what I mean? Or 3? Is it 3 years? You're adding a spark plug like that to a lineup that's already loaded. I'll give San Fran all the credit in the world, but there's only one team I can bet. I shouldn't say that. I probably could bet the Padres right here. The markets are absolutely crashing on the Padres right now. And what are they?
200 to 1.
Yeah. There's dumber bets to make than that.
Have you ever seen this in your life? And me and Sheripan have talked about this. And I get it. It's the division and the wild card stuff. So the format is different. That's why we've never seen really a discrepancy like this, Teddy. But San Diego, bro, we're 200 to 1 to win the division right now. Yet to win the World Series, to win the World Series, they're 32 to 1. 200 to 1 to win your division, 32 to 1 to win the championship, Teddy. That's some weird math.
Yeah, but they're 12 games back in the NL West. Yeah, so the thought process is that, hey, maybe, if they can sneak into a wild card, they're live to win. But we all know that when you're talking, well, I shouldn't say we all know. In general, I tend to avoid the odds to win it all because they're not priced. The house takeout on those bets is enormous. When you're talking about in August, making a bet to win a division at 200 to 1, the house takeout on that wager is not quite the same as it is at the house takeout on a World Series future. So even though they are longer shots, perhaps, to win the division, I don't even know if they're that much longer to win the division than they would be to win the World Series. 200 to 1, again, you're throwing your money away, but that's going to cash more than once every 200 times. I think it's a positive expectation wager.
And, Teddy, oftentimes we talk about futures, and we'll see that you can pretty much get the same number a lot of times before the playoff starts, right? Before the year. You're like, wow, they were 25 to 1 before the year started, and they're 18 to 1 or 20 to 1 now as the playoffs start, right? Et cetera. So, like, a lot of times, but let me ask you about the Dodgers situation, because the Dodgers are favorites at plus 310, but they're not, they might have to play a one-off still. So if the Dodgers didn't have to play a one-off and they were like Milwaukee and they were already in, I guess I'm asking you, at 310, is it crazy to get the Dodgers? Because once they get past that one in, bro, I think the Dodgers jump to like 185 or something like that.
Yeah. So,
are the Dodgers going to be plus 310 before the playoffs start? I don't think so, Teddy. I do think they do come down. But most of the time, teams generally don't all that much.
SportsGrid.com. Betting insights and entertainment at your fingertips 24/7 as our team covers the most important topics in sports wagering. Real-time odds, predictive betting models, expert picks, and more. Want the edge? Then get on the grid. SportsGrid.com.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between are words that you will now hear 6 nights a week right here on Sirius XM, channel 204. Get on the grid. I am Gabriel Morency, and it's great to be back. It's the holiday season, and it feels like a homecoming as we return to Sirius XM to throw it down as part of the Sports Grid Radio Networks. It's great to have you on board. As I stated, we're going to be kicking it 6 nights a week, guys, live, midnight Eastern time, 180 minutes of chaos. And I'll tell you what, we've got the old school feeling going, don't we? Sirius XM, Morency, the crazies, the nut jobs, the rageaholics, and of course, Scotty Farrell, who we couldn't be more excited to be working with here at Sports Grid. And you know what? Scotty Farrell was always been one of my favorite talk show hosts. And, you know, I was listening to Scotty when I lived in Los Angeles in the late 80s. Farrell's been doing it for a long time. And listen, we've been doing it for a long time, and he's been doing it for even longer and bigger. And, you know, we've always had a ton of respect for Scotty Farrell. It's something in my career I've been pretty fortunate of getting an opportunity to work with people that I like and that I actually looked up to and respect in the industry. So I've always been a massive Farrell fan, and it was in the hardcore sports radio days on Sirius XM in, what was it, like 2007, 8, 9, 10, you know. I'm bad with time, right? I'm bad with time. Like, asking me what channels we were on, like people say, Morency, what channel were you on anyways on Sirius XM? What number were you guys before? I don't know, dude. That's like asking Charlie Sheen what the name of the stripper that he did 2 weeks ago is. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think we were 98, 99, 99, 10. Howard was 101. And, you know, if we're on Sirius, we can't, you know, you can't be on Sirius XM without paying tribute to the king of all radio, and Howard Stern. But we were fortunate because we were buried, man, like 186 or something like that at the time. And now it doesn't matter. But in the old days, it actually mattered. There weren't as many networks. So due to Scotty Farrell and Howard Stern and, Howard 101, we got moved to like channel 98 or something like that. And we started doing live shows with Scotty Farrell. And one of the coolest, like, listen, we've had a lot of cool times over the years, but one of the coolest times ever was me and Scotty Farrell hosted a big time party in Toronto. And it was Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. So yeah, we're going back a little bit. So yeah, it's great to be back. Everything comes full circle. Listen, we've been on and off Sirius XM over the years, but it's great to be back right now in 2021. As you see, you know, you look at the media, and I remember years ago, people were concerned, what's going to happen to radio? What's going to happen to newspapers? What's going to happen to the media? And we've seen newspapers, well, they're not doing very well. All right, they're going to be bankrupt. They're going to be out of business. Nobody buys newspapers anymore. Cable companies make their money off of internet now. Not even like cable. Anybody under 30 like refuses to pay for cable. But you look at talk radio, guys, it never goes anywhere, man. And, you know, a wise man told me this many years ago. He said, don't worry about the future. He says, talk radio will always exist. He says, people are always going to want to talk about the sports teams that they like, about the politicians that they hate, what the traffic and the weather is, and nobody does it better than Sirius XM. You know, there's a lot of people in this field now, but Sirius XM, to me, it's all about authenticity. And you know, I was on AM radio in the early 2000s, and we came to satellite, and it was kind of the Wild West in those days, still, right? You know, it was over the top. There were a lot of F-bombs and strippers and craziness. And it was like, well, hey, we can do whatever we want now, right? So, yeah, we did what we wanted. We got it out of our system. Now we just compulsively, degenerately bet all the time. And if you're tuning in on channel 204 right now, you could be, and you probably are, a betting man. Hey, who is it? Like 40 million Americans placed a bet last year that we know of. That we know of. So we know that many of you lay it down, and of course, many of you were listeners of the VSiN radio network. And you know what? VSiN does some great work. I'm talking about my favorites, man. Brent Musburger, come on. Brent Musburger is one of the best play-by-play guys ever. And, everybody loves Al Michaels. I love Al Michaels. But everyone likes Al Michaels, right? And, everyone, Al Michaels talked about the point spread. Yeah, whatever. Al Michaels talked about the point spread. Brent Musburger's actually got $18,000 on the game. So, what I mean? There's different levels to this stuff. So we have nothing but the utmost respect for VSiN and for Mr. Brent Musburger. And we wish them the best on all their new platforms. But you know what? The show must go on. And, we like to throw it down. And the name of the show, of course, is Sports Rage. And we like to have fun. But always at the root of our show is always, of course, going to be sports betting. And sometimes betting on other things besides sports as well. But sports betting. And, we break it down with some of the best in the business. Voices that you became, accustomed to in the gaming world. If you hear on VSiN, listen, guys, the gaming world is small. The gaming community is small. It's large, but everybody knows everybody. If you've been around this industry for a while, you've been listening to these shows for a while, you know who Steve Merrill is. You know who Drew Martin Betts is. You know who Paul Bovey is. You know who the legendary Mark Lawrence is. You know who Teddy Covers is. So we'll have a lot of the same voices that you've heard from Las Vegas. We're going to have a lot of voices, of course, from New Jersey. That really is the new betting capital. Listen, I love Las Vegas. I lived in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is one of my favorite cities in the world. It really is. It's an awesome place. But it's not the only place where you can place a bet anymore. We're in a new marketplace right now, guys. We're in an exciting, you want to talk about Wild West. We were around when the satellite radio was Wild West. Now the sports betting world continues to grow exponentially, and it will continue to grow. And we're going to be part of this growth. Hopefully we can grow our bank accounts and our sports betting accounts along the way. It's a great time of the year right now, Super Bowl coming up, and we've got to give credit to Roger Goodell. And I don't say that often because Goodell does a lot of stupid things, like messing with Josh Gordon all the time. Like, I don't understand this. How is Josh Gordon, banned from the National Football League for smoking weed when you can, cross the street from pretty much half the stadiums in the league and walk into a weed store and buy weed? Everybody in the parking lot of a Denver Bronco game is getting baked. All that smoke in the parking lot, that ain't barbecue. It is barbecue and weed. It's quite the sight, actually, in the Denver Bronco parking lot. Man, God bless. God bless. God bless the future. I never would have thought we'd be saying that. Oh, yeah, it's a big weed fest in the parking lot of NFL games. It used to be a big booze fest. But, yeah, it's just, the stupidity that Josh Gordon's career has been messed with. Because Gordon's never, hit anyone. Gordon's never assaulted anybody. What's Josh Gordon done? I don't even think the guy does coke or anything. I think he keeps on failing weed tests. And I don't know, alcohol, he's in a treatment thing or something. But, really? We've got guys in the National Football League that beat up pregnant women. Their own pregnant women. So, and we're worried about Josh Gordon smoking weed. So I got a problem with that, Goodell. But Goodell and National Football League have done a good job bringing normalcy to everybody's lives in a year that has been anything but normal. And everybody thinks just because, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. Yeah, what do you think? 2021 just magically turns everything into a paradise? Oh, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. So it's a damn good thing that the National Football League has been there for us. Of course, it was, chaos and carnage across the board in college football, but Goodell has done a nice job. So we look forward to breaking down the National Football League playoffs with you. It's good time. It's a good time to launch as we're going to be beginning our nightly programming. Sports Grid's nightly programming will begin on January the 7th, which is super cool. And, a lot of you tuning in right now know who I am, and a lot of you are thinking, who the hell is this guy with the annoying voice? So we'll give you a little bit background about ourselves, but we've been doing this now for moving on 19 years. So we've been doing this for 19 years, and we were on Sirius XM over the years. We've been in New York, we've been in Los Angeles, we've lived in Las Vegas, we've lived in Toronto, and the party all started in Montreal. The party started in Montreal 19 years ago as we were the Montreal Expos post-game show host, and that's really kind of like what got me started, in which, we were doing shows. We were doing a sports talk show, and not for all that long either. So, timing is everything. That's my point here. Timing is everything. You got to be at the right place at the right time, or start at the right time. So I just find it ironic that our first ever show was January the 6th, 2002. And here we are now, January the 7th, 2021, launching on Sirius XM with the Grid. So I like the synergy a lot. It's, the evolution of the Rage-olution